You are listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today, I am speaking with Agnieszka Gaczkowska, who recently was a speaker on one of my TEDx events. She is a founder of Plotki. This is a handmade business. She's doing handmade workshops for corporations, for groups of people to develop their skills of the future. Hi, Agnieszka. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for the invite, Elena. I'm so glad to be here.
So you're, for me, Agnieszka, you're very inspiring because you turned your passion into a great profitable business. And this is what I wanted to speak with you about today, because I know that many people who are listening to us, maybe they're thinking, oh, I should change my job. Maybe they're not fully satisfied with what they do. And you are just doing what you love every day. And this is so amazing. So how did you start your business, Oplotki?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It seems that now I'm at this point where I reap the harvest of everything I worked for my entire life. And there were many places where I felt like it was a mistake, but now I see that was just a part of this, big wall that you build your entire life. And each episode in your life is a brick that you put into it to make it even stronger and bigger. And yeah, for me, it started with the handmade. Like, I guess we all have those memories back in the kids' times when we do something with our hands, like drawing, sculpting, maybe knitting with your granny, or I don't know, doing those bird houses with grandpa. I also had that. It was so natural in my family, like breathing and eating, like doing handmade things. Even my grandfather, he was like doing the shoes, like as a hobby, fixing them. So for me, that was something natural. And that naturally led me to the work that I dreamt of and really aspired to do. I dreamt to be an architect. So all those handmade skills, they in a way paved the way to my dream job. And I did. I worked as an architect for over a decade. And I'm this type of a person that does something 100% or doesn't do it at all. So I was really on top of it, like my own practice, hiring people, doing big projects. But at one point in my life, I realized that there's no space for private life there. Even my husband, we are laughing because he's a road designer. So in a way, we kind of cooperated, worked together. And this thin line between work and private life was totally non-existent. And when we wanted to set up the family, I realized that it's barely impossible to be a present mom for my kids doing what I do. And I had this massive stop in my life. And I guess we all have that moment that there comes this shift, there comes this longing on, or there's something inside of us telling us that, okay, we need to change something. So I'm not that, original. I also had it somewhere around kids. So with the first kid, I was still running around at the building site, proving the whole world that I could break those goddamn glass ceilings, running high heels shoes with kids on board. But then I realized, okay, why do I need to prove anything to anybody? Like, do I need to be in a fight mode all the time? And I stopped. I paused. With the second child, I had like a really like life-threatening experience because I really exhausted after a work day and I nearly fallen asleep in a car. So that was a huge wake-up call for me. And that was the moment I paused. I delegated all things architecture and I realized that being at home allowed me to go back to all the childhood passions, all that handmade things like sculpting, drawing, all the things I loved and led me to architecture in the first place. They bubbled up to the surface once again. And once I caught it, like after all those years, I said, no way, I have to figure out something to stay with it and like practice it every day. That was also this moment when I realized that it's a huge, powerful tool to actually stay mindful all the time. When I started practicing handmade, like, crocheting those carpets for my interior design at home with kids on board, or doing some, I don't know, a picture for a wall, I realized that diving into this process gives me a tool to stay connected to my inner values, to what I really want, start asking myself questions like, do I really want that job? Or is it just me trying to prove everybody I'm better than the whole rest? And, all those things that we don't allow ourselves on daily basis, I did access it through handmade. And when I discovered that, I said, come on, that's a huge, powerful tool. In a way, that's a thing that we need in this fast-paced world, like in this world where we need those life-threatening moments to actually sometimes wake up and realize that, like, we spend half of our life chasing somebody else's, vision of success. And
Yes,
to me,
definitely. And at which point did you realize that you want to make it a business and that you can make it a business?
yeah, great question. Yeah, when I realized that, okay, I could be, doing those handmade things at home when I'm there with kids, and we have this break, like in Poland, we've got 1 year leave, so that's really comfy. But then you have to go back to reality, all the bills, they won't pay itself. So for me, that was a conscious decision. Okay, I have to figure out something. So if I want to stay in that field and not to go back to this fast-paced architecture, I need to figure out some kind of model that will be earning our bills, like paying the bills. So I did invest consciously in some support. I hired a business mentor, which I support till this day. Like, I take advantage of her programs, but I'm also mentor in her programs. So I kind of see that this investment turned back to help me create a business model based on handmade. And it might sound funny because at the beginning, I started doing handmade workshops. That was pre-COVID time, legendary times where we could like meet live and chill out together in some cafe. And, at this level of handmade, it was teaching others how to create a certain skill. Like, I don't know, do a blanket for your house, like woolen blanket that you wouldn't buy in a store. You just want to create it on your own. But then it also had this value of networking. So I saw the potential there. And right away, I saw that it's not scalable. My time is not limitless. I started hiring people to do more and more of those workshops. So in a way, that started to be a business model that gave me joy and happiness to do that and lead people and grow the business. But then COVID came, and I'm so glad that I started cooperating with Sigrun, like my mentor, because from the very beginning she was advising me to start with this online pillar of the model of the business. So pre-COVID, that was something niche down for people who, for example, women that were after a cancer, so they didn't have hair or something, they were ashamed to come on live event, the workshops. So they were using those online workshops. So it was kind of a really niche down service, but still serving the same purpose to create
Mhm,
some
mhm.
networking and give those handmade skills. But then when COVID came, everything exploded because we started sitting at home, spending more and more time getting crazy, like not being able to go out. So all those services, handmade online workshops, plus handmade online courses that we also had on our offer, they started to be very popular to the broad audience, the mainstream. And that only showed me how a powerful tool that is, because when we were getting crazy at home with kids, with our spouses, then we could reach for that tool that we already had like ready sitting there on the web page. And what also came with that time were the companies, like big companies, corporate world that I only knew as private clients, like employees were coming to our workshops and they were telling us, Agnieszka, during those workshops, we can just chill out. We don't have to use Zoom or Teams only for, those boring meetings that we actually treat as unwanted chore. We can turn those meetings into some networking, some chill out time. And I realized that that's a huge service also for the corporate world. So I started organizing those workshops for big companies. And it turns out that for example, Rossmann or Alior Bank, those are really useful to create those employees connections, like informal meetings, but also they could serve as a informal forums that we can ask our employees for something. And to me, that opened up totally new gates, because
Yeah.
I started with handmade workshops, and the main focus was on teaching those handmade skills like crocheting, knitting, and etc. But then I transferred more into teaching those creative skills, creating the platform to talk, to chill out, to network. And it turned out that online platform, especially now when we crave for a human being, for connection, turned out that that's a really nice tool to put people in one room, despite all the things that divide us, and makes us united over those, things that we do as something with our hands, not only, clicking through that computer, but also gives a safe space to simply be a human being, make mistakes. It's really funny to do the handmade scarf because it's allowed to make mistakes. It's even advised to make errors, because that's the whole fun of it. And again, we play just like kids, like we were kids, and we remember the fact that we don't have to be perfect all the time. And I feel that we kind of forgot about it in this digital world. And with handmade workshops, we could bring it back to feel that we are allowed to be human beings and make
Yeah, yeah.
errors.
I can definitely hear that you are super passionate about your business, and this is great. Thank you for telling your story, how you moved from uh, doing things yourself to starting teaching this to others. I think that you showed that it is possible. And I think
Yeah.
that many people, they are thinking about it, but maybe they're a bit scared. They don't know how, they don't know how to start, where to start. So if there was a person listening to us who would like to start their business or maybe side business based on their passion, maybe it is dancing, maybe it is I don't know, some cooking or something else. So what would you recommend? How would you recommend to start? What would be the first steps?
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, there is this twofold answer. I would strongly advise to just start, just do things instead of being in our hands. Just do things. And the second thing, dare to ask for help. And that's exactly what I did. Now, when I look at it from a couple of years back, I assigned the success to those two features that I practiced all the time. So first thing was trusting this inner voice that tells us, like, literally sometimes it just whispers and tells us, okay, let's do this, let's try out. Like, you feel it, you probably feel the same thing that so many people around us feel, but we don't dare to speak it out. Sometimes that's this basic action to take. Just talk about what you feel. Like, my main thing was talking about, I'm so frustrated that I either am a professional architect or a mom, present mom that is at home with their kids. Why do I need to choose? Like, I was so rebellious about that and said, okay, I wanted both. I dare to create a model where I'm both a mom at home, like my daughter is just having this homeschooling and I'm doing podcast, right? You can have it both. And still to be this ambitious entrepreneurial lady that, sets her own rules. And that was the thing I was talking about. And when I started talking about, like, one after another, step led to another, that's how I was recommended my business mentor. And that was taking me to the second step, where you don't know how to create a business out of handmade skills. I had no idea. I kind of had the hint that there's something to those meetings, that there's this power within it, but I had no idea how to turn it into profitable business model that could support 7 people on team like we have today. So I dared to ask for help. And if I saw a lady that, is based in Iceland, but has a husband from Switzerland, so she needs a job that is, independent from location and still can adjust to her hectic, crazy, flying back and forth life. And I saw she did it. I said, okay, that's the person I want to ask for help, because I also want to have a business model that adjusts to my private life. And those were those two little things. But sometimes we don't even dare to talk about our dreams. We kind of silence them, put this mute mode to what we have inside because we follow somebody else's definition of success. And to me, daring to speak it out is the first step that leads you directly to, doing something about it, because finally somebody's going to push you. And then just asking for help. And that's a crucial step, because we don't have to have it all. We don't have to have it figured out. There's so many people that already did it and they share. So that's a great way to take advantage of that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone uh, who is a beginner in business and in online business, if they would come to you and ask you for help, what would be the first recommendations, to the first steps that you would recommend?
Yeah, definitely. I would advise surround yourself with people that support your idea. Um, I do it in practical way, either on workshops. So sometimes even just having this group, like, have those 5 ladies that like to, I don't know, needs just like you, and you just meet and talk to each other, and they are supportive. And when you drop this crazy idea, okay, I want to start my cooking company, they're not going to be telling you, oh, that's a stupid thing, don't drop corpo. She's going to be telling you, okay, I know this lady, and she's going to help you with accounting, and this one, that's a great, tip. Just surround yourself with those people. I also do it business wise, like setting up my masterminding group. It's just putting right people into one group and meeting regularly. It's just that, really, that's simple. But when you consciously surround yourself with those people, consciously choose to have people that support you rather than, tell you that it's a bad idea, then magic can happen. Somebody said that we're a sum of 5 people that we surround ourselves with or spend most time with. And I strongly believe that it's working. Like if you're in this environment where there are people who are chasing their dreams, in a way it diffuses into your mindset and you start doing the same. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This group of like-minded people is so crucial, so important. I have at different points of my life and of my business, I had different types of groups, business groups, masterminds, and I feel that I can't do it on my own. Even if I know what to do, I need an accountability partner. I
Exactly.
need someone with whom I would have a call or have a coffee from time to time and just say, okay, I don't know what to do. And because in business, you're always expected that you know what to do. Maybe on
Exactly.
on our Instagram profiles and Facebook profiles, we're showing this perfect version, right? That we have
Exactly.
everything figured out, but in fact, we don't. We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And that's why I admire so much your work as a TEDx speaker, both speaker and organizer,
yeah.
right? Because you also delivered an awesome speech. And that's why it's such a powerful thing, because you create that space, that platform where our ideas could grow and be visible. And it's so beautiful that, in a way, you're a mentor in that field to many of us. Like I was like looking at you on the stage and like, wow, you just can do it. Like she just does it, and then you just go down and tell us like, okay, you need to do this and this and that, and those are the tools you can use to speak. And that's so beautiful that we can share. But at the same time, being a mentor, we're allowed to go to somebody else because we're in other areas we need support. Like those are skills that are not so natural to us, and we can just ask somebody to provide us with a tool to grow in that field. And to me, that's this beautiful picture of how our leadership changed, like with your leadership and ideas. Like it's oftentimes about just stepping up to what we really do great and not trying to prove that we're great at everything, and allowing ourselves to be imperfect in other fields leaves this space to grow, leaves this space for dialogue, for reaching out to people who are really brilliant in that space. And in a way, this way we all grow because we can exchange. And I really love this idea of win-win. I guess that's why I'm in this business, because when we sit down and, chill out while knitting, it doesn't matter whether you're a CEO like earning 10K a month, or, a CEO closing this $10 million deal. We're equal because we both don't know how to do that damn stitch because it's not working at that very point. And that's a huge thing, that in that point, our granny that does nothing about, Excel sheets and closing the deal, she's our mentor because she does those stitches perfectly. And that's this beauty of this world, that there will always be area where we can grow, and just allowing ourselves to be imperfect allows others to be, mentors for us.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it teaches us, I think, about self leadership a lot. And also speaking about leadership, I know that you have been working on your communication skills and your exposure in your business lately. And congratulations on your
Thank you.
amazing results. You were on TV, on radio, and on TEDx platform, of course. Um, do you feel that with improving and working on your communication skills, and also with growing your business, do you feel that your leadership skills improved somehow? And as your team grows over those last few years, as your team increased, what change do you see in your personal leadership skills?
Yeah, that's a great point. Like it really changes, and I'm so grateful we had this episode where we worked together, and I'm so grateful for your, your guidance, because the tools you gave me, to us sometimes it feels natural. Like what a skill! Like we can speak to other people. Like I know what to say to my employees, right? Bullshit, to be honest, like if I'm using the bad word, but it's really, I had no idea how much of an importance communication skills put on the making this difference, this tiny little difference, how we say things, and in what way, in what circumstances, that changes a lot. And I remember that those were first steps, like stepping into consciously working on communication skills. Like I thought I nailed it because I'm really talkative, as you as you can hear. But then when I got those, tangible tools that could improve those skills, or make me use those tools more consciously, that really transferred to how I lead my team, how I communicate with them, and boosted my self-confidence. Because even with TEDx, like for you that's like every day, right? You're doing TEDx events like for many years, so I bet that's a bit normal to you. But to me, TEDx was also about, those super duper people that are on that stage, and I never felt one of them. And working on communication skills, on this leadership through, delivering what we want to, how we want to lead, and being clear about it, it in a way it helped me to dare to be there, to even apply to be a TEDx speaker, because I kind of felt that there is this power to improve what is maybe not that good, feel confident about it. And I saw that this whole process of preparing myself to TEDx, I saw how much work it is. So just admiring like what you're doing there backstage, but also to me, it made me grow as a leader, because I felt I have this tool that, no matter where you are, no matter whom you're talking to, it's always this tool set in your head that you can consciously reach for and use in a way that you want to have this tangible result. So to me, this message, that speaking skills, it transfers to leadership skills. And I see it in my team. We already have 7 people on board doing handmade workshops. And the way I talk to them, communicate our values that we want to communicate further on, that really makes a difference. Because once you start growing, it's not always you doing those things. And those are people representing your organization outside. And if you don't know how to communicate the deepest values you want to carry out to the world through what you do, you're kind of lost, right? There's no point. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So it's great that you felt this, that it gives you confidence in communicating with your team, and also can boost your even self confidence and self leadership. Agnieszka, to sum up our conversation, let's give our listeners a few tools what they can do to start their journey or to continue their journey of especially if they want to start a business in this area of their passion, or maybe it is not necessarily their hobby or passion, but this is something completely new. And your story shows that it is absolutely possible, and it is possible to be a successful businesswoman in a completely new area that you were not in before. So what would be those main tips that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I would totally leave with this one thought. Follow your heart and follow your head. Sometimes the head tells us like great data, like we know, oh, this coach is great, has this amazing success. But I also like give you permission to listen to your heart. If you kind of feel that, okay, that person is talking about something and I don't know what she's talking about, but she's definitely like reaching my heart. There's something to it. I begin to feel I, in a way, connect with that person, follow that, because that's a beautiful guidance that we have like inbuilt in us. But with this, crazy digital world, we forgot how it is just to feel that it's okay, to feel that we can follow our heart, to feel that we can follow our passion, because it won't disappear. It will just keep on bubbling up. And the sooner you start, the easier it's going to be for you to take this next step. I started 4 years ago because I just wanted to be more at home with my kids and at the same time be this, entrepreneurial lady in high heels. And that was just the start. And, I ended up, speaking on Red Dot, inspiring hundreds and hundreds of people and sharing this powerful handmade tool with thousands of people. And you see, once you start, your goals will start growing, changing, your vision's gonna get bigger. But it's just a matter of starting. You have to start somewhere. Sometimes it's just starting at zero, none, nada. And it's okay. Like everybody started there. But just do this first step. And, right people, supportive people, mentors, they will come your way. But once you start, you just have to start. Yeah.
Thank you, Agnieszka, so much. You're so inspirational, and even as I'm listening to you, I want to start.
Better than coffee, yeah.
Yes, this is so inspiring. I'm sure that our listeners who were thinking about some crazy idea, they for sure they will make the first step after listening to you. And if our listeners want to get even more inspiration and want to reach out to you, where they can find you?
Oh, great question. Yeah, we're everywhere as Oplotki. That's podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. When you write down Oplotki or Oplotki PL, that's the website. There you'll find this handmade, ecosystem supporting you. And when you want to reach me out personally, it's best way is on LinkedIn, because there's this place where you can actually like talk to me personally. And I'm really glad to connect and have the feedback. If you have any crazy ideas connected with handmade or even business or anything that comes to your mind, I'm really glad to answer. That's the best fun of doing this business, that I could connect to totally new people with crazy ideas.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Agnieszka, for inspiring us and for being on Ideas and Leaders today.
Thank you so much, Elena, for the invite, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So glad that we've made it before Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. See you in the next episode.